Well, here we go. The coldest air in a month settling in across Minnesota, and it is creating quite the wind across the state. Picked up some fresh snow too. That's going to be lacking a very quiet, dry pattern, and we'll take a look at when the cold finally departs. So a pretty widespread snowfall across most of Minnesota, generally about an inch or two. That's what these light blue dots are. Some places got a little bit more, notably up around International Falls. We saw some 4 to 5 inch amounts, but generally we were in that 1 to 2 inch range, and that was pretty common across the metro area too. You can see a couple of random 2-inch spots in some of the western suburbs. Officially at the airport, one of the highest amounts in the metro, 2.2, but most places at about 1.5. You can see around Apple Valley, 1.5 inches in Woodbury too. So not a lot of snow, but it is whipping around with the wind. And quite the contrast in temperatures ahead of that Arctic front. It was 30 degrees warmer this morning compared to yesterday morning when it was in the single digits. We topped out at 33 degrees in the Twin Cities early this morning. That's long gone though now. Of course, the very cold air to the north, you can see all being drawn in behind this. These were morning temperatures, and you can see the cold that is just all around us to the northerly direction, and that's where the wind is coming from. So that cold air moving in. We've got the low, that clipper that just moved through, and a big old Arctic high that's hidden behind the All Energy solar sign. But that Arctic high is going to hug the Rocky Mountains. It's very cold, very dense air. The Rocky Mountains acts like a wall. And so what it will be doing here over the next 24 hours is literally just kind of following along that wall or the mountains across Canada and making its way into Minnesota. You can see this. This is just air pressure. So just another way of looking at the Arctic area. You don't need a temperature map. You can look at the air pressure too, because that air is very dense. A lot of air at the surface. But wind gusts were pretty impressive, 60 miles an hour in the Dakotas, but even in the Red River Valley, we had a 54 mile an hour gust in Grand Forks. Gusts not quite as high here in the eastern part of the state, but still 40 plus miles per hour as that cold air descends. And it is going to be below zero for much of central and northern Minnesota tonight. I think in the Twin Cities we stay above zero, so not really all that cold, relatively speaking, but near 20 below zero in northwestern Minnesota. Wind chills will be below zero most of tomorrow, even 30, 40 below zero in northwestern Minnesota. They're going to bear the brunt of the worst of this cold, certainly. And then tomorrow night, we do drop below zero in the Twin Cities, single digits below zero, first time below zero since Christmas morning, believe it or not. It is quite the stretch for the middle of the winter to go without being below the zero mark. Wind chills, though, early Sunday, close to 20 below in the Twin Cities, near 40 below in northern Minnesota. And that cold is going to stick around for a while. We talked about the core of it spinning around Hudson Bay, the polar vortex. So that's going to mean pretty cold air for us for a while. We're on the edges of it. This is not a polar vortex cold. It's well up into Canada, but below normal temperatures, certainly, with some sub-zero nights. And then it finally retreats by Friday and Saturday. So that 22-degree high is falling from there. We'll be in the teens this evening, down to 3 tonight. 10 tomorrow. Again, that's only about 14 degrees below normal. Sunday, Monday will be colder, below zero here, several consecutive nights, but I don't even know if we get to 10 below. The coldest we've been this season so far is 12 below. Historically, we used to be in the 20s below zero every winter. That just doesn't happen anymore. So you got to think of this in terms of the perspective. Our cold is getting warmer as well as the whole temperature trend. 12 degrees by Wednesday, Thursday, again, not too bad. And it looks like by Friday or Saturday, we will be back to 20 degrees in the Twin Cities.